Hello and good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and today is Thankful Thursday. Um, I'm kind of inspired and excited for tonight for many different reasons, but let me start with the welcome. Welcome to those who have already joined 6079 Smith W. Uh, Eddie Marciano. What you gonna do when Talcmania runs wild on you, brother? Luke Baker, uh, Realist Weed, Paul Laporta. God bless you, brother. Good to see you too. Latoya Williams, Jilly's Jewels, Cult Member 3, and God bless. I know there's more. I know there will be more. And thank you for all those who are joining. Because again, this is the Talcott experience. The Talcottian experience is being revealed as your experience is being revealed with you. It's an amazing experience. It's an amazing adventure that we are sharing. So last night, I thought we had a beautiful stream. The topic I wanted to get to was stress, and I don't feel like I did that topic justice. Sorry, I was hearing some sort of beeping. I don't feel I gave that topic justice, the topic of stress, right? Because it is something everyone is dealing with right now. And it's real easy for us as human beings to normalize stress. And I was reflecting about that nature in myself and the patterns of my life. I'm speaking from experience. Because I don't know how you grew up, but my childhood, we moved around a lot, right? It's like every 6-9 months, it seems, we were picking up, moving somewhere again. So I remember going to school and it was like, why bother making friends? I mean, I'm going to leave in a few months. I'll never see you again. So in hindsight, I started detaching myself from others when I was real young. But then inside the home, man, it was like confusing. There was conflicts and disagreements, It seemed like to show your love, you had to be real loud about it. So it really didn't feel safe a lot. So I know I'm not alone, and I actually know I had it pretty easy. I've met men and women who have had childhoods that, praise God, man. So the lesson I learned, though, from this is that I had developed such insecurities. They started coming out in anger with me when I was a teenager. Started fighting, getting in conflicts, my mouth wouldn't stop. But then for me, I was blessed and I found the discipline and order, the maturity and development offered by raising my hand for the military. So the military helped me gain some confidence in myself. But, and then I was taught to be afraid of other stuff. There's always dangers because we're always at war. So I think what my role is with this Live Without Fear message, it's hopefully God has me planned to do something great through the world because that's my goal. But I think if I'm right, then we're going to be a wake-up call for humanity. And we're going to wake up to what is real, and we're going to learn how to relax. Learn how to relax into ourselves by becoming grateful for the day. And it is Thankful Thursday, brothers and sisters. I've had a guest already waiting patiently. George Monty from the True Life podcast, all the way from the islands. This man is an inspiration and just a bundle of energy. For those who caught it, he was kind enough to have me over on his podcast recently where we met. So today we're going to kind of continue the conversations, but we're also going to open up the panel for those who want to join as well, right? What are your thoughts on stress? You are a man, well, our resonance is kind of the fascination of the truth. What is true, right? Asking those questions. And when you start asking those questions and getting different answers, do you go through an emotional roller coaster like I did?
Yeah, I think that the first question people ask when they start becoming honest with themselves, at least for me, was why me? Why me? Why did this happen to me? Why did my kid die? Why did this girl leave me? Why is my dad like that? Why me? Why do I deserve that? I don't deserve that. Why me? And that's it. This is blaming. And then all of a sudden, like that gives way. But a lot of people stay in this why me phase. Some people their whole life. For me, years I stayed in this blaming phase. It was always I was kind of a victim, where I was like, man, I don't get it. Why me? Why would this happen to me? But I want to tell everybody listening to this, first off, thank you, Jack, for the opportunity to be here with you, man. I'm so stoked that you would even allow me a walk-on part in the war. And the truth is, what are you going to do when Jack Talcott mania runs wild on you? It's such a great quote. But that being said, yeah, the question is why me? And the answer to that is because you're strong enough. Because there's something in this world that believes you and you alone can go through it and then help other people get through it, right? When you get to the top, turn around and help the next one up. So questions are a beautiful place to begin, my friend.
God, I just love that message, man. And to be able to admit that too, going through that. Hey, you reminded me, this was a comment I did want to address.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luke Baker. Prayers for all with PTSD, depression, pain, loneliness, salvation, lack of God. God bless you. I know those feelings. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's because here, I was thinking about this earlier, right? Why do we worry? Okay, let's use our logic. This is where I found my freedom. First, my logic drove me nuts because I allowed my fears to prevent me from, well, finding humility, finding fault. But why do we worry? It's because we care. If we didn't care, we wouldn't worry. But the problem is, so what? So what if you care? Worrying does absolutely nothing. And so I was thinking about this earlier. So why does that happen? Why do we do it? It's for our egos, for the image of ourselves that we've imagined. When we give ourselves things to worry about, it makes us feel important, right? We get to carry this burden of worry around. And in this society, that makes you important. It's like we're living so backwards. Logically, if you want to worry about something, you're wasting your damn time. This was something I realized about myself too. Maybe I am unkind. Maybe I do lack sympathy or pity. I know I do, because I want no sympathy. I want no pity. I allow myself no sympathy or pity anymore either. Because this is what I realized. I was worrying about crap that was totally outside of my control, like the future, right? And I felt important because I felt whatever. When I became honest, I looked back at my life and I saw how much of my time, how many of my experiences were missed or ruined because of the way I was thinking. You know, I'd be out on the, for example, I was blessed. My best friend had a nice boat. And we lived close to the lake. So, we'd spend a criminy every weekend out on the lake. And, I remember just feeling miserable. It was like, I remember when I got sober, being afraid to go out on the boat because there might be beer, right? And it's like, in hindsight, what the hell, man? What in the hell was I thinking? Well, I know I'm not alone in the illogical conclusions, right? Where we allow our fears to hold us back from enjoying an experience. Because really, what is life? But it's a long experience, man. It's just like a dream, unless you think it's real. And then if you think it's real, then it can get pretty scary. But it needs to be treated as though it's real. The reality, the experience of life is what I mean. That's what I started doing for myself. I stopped taking the world so seriously. I stopped taking the politics and the budgets and reputations. I stopped taking all of that seriously. And I started taking myself seriously. In hindsight, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know myself. I didn't know what I truly liked because I was always focused on what I didn't like. Can you imagine others? Right? People, we create these habits of negativity, right? It's like human. It is a trying to think of the accurate words while being polite and encouraging. It's conditioned insanity, right? It's a pattern of, there you go. It's a natural pattern of human behavior. The selfish, egoic desires, right? The selfish, egoic thoughts of fear and insecurity and lack. But this is our opportunity to overcome the primitive, to overcome the ancient, right? To overcome the beast and to become the spirit. And George, I don't know where you're at in your life, in your adventure. You seem to be living quite a pretty cool one, man. You've talked to some amazing people. I haven't listened to many of your podcasts, but I've seen the topics, and you cover some amazing things. You've met an incredible network of healers and future-minded thinking people around the world, haven't you?
Yeah, I really have. And I think that what you're talking about, your experience is an experience that people have gone through throughout the ages, one by one, and now it's beginning to happen more and more frequently. It seems to me that what we're going through is sort of an awakening, a sort of a realization that the dream you're in, comes to the question, can you control it? Can you control the dream? What does that mean to control the dream? Like, you can, but you have to do what you did. You have to stop allowing the outside influences to create the environment for you. Think about it this way. If you are in a video game, say like one of those new sandbox games like Grand Theft Auto, you can drive around a car, you can run in, you can take some stuff, you can do anything. It's a sandbox game, right? Like it seems unlimited. But what if you could fundamentally, instead of getting in different cars, what if you could just be in the car and then change the color of the car? What if you could walk into the store, instead of it being a liquor store, it turns into a candy store? What if you could walk in as a 5'6" white guy, but walk out a 6'9", half black guy, half lion? And like, that's the difference. Like it seems that the world we've been given is infinite, but it's really limited. It's like this, it's like this, it's the default mode network that you're given. When you're given something, there's all these parameters, but you and you alone can take those parameters off and reinvent the world. And that's where the freedom comes from. And I want to talk for just a moment about not only the awakening that's happening, but this idea of the ego. And some people talk, a lot of the people I've been talking to, I want to point everyone to this. There's an incredible woman she's the Mahadrina of the Santo Daime Church. And Mahadrina is sort of like a spiritual leader. Only the church she is from is more of a South American sort of mindset. And her name is Dr. Jessica Rochester. And what she spoke to me speaks to what you were talking about, and it blows my mind. Think about your instincts, Jack. Like, you know how you like, have you ever been with someone or you've been in a room and you're like, dude, something doesn't feel right. Like, I think something's gonna pop, you know, and then all of a sudden someone wants to fight, or you know what, maybe you're in a room and this beautiful girl walks by and she looks at you, no words are expired, but you know what? I think that girl likes me. Or you walk up to a girl and you're like, this girl does not like me. I should get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Or this guy's going to punch me. We all have these instincts, like something may happen, but it's not something that it's something intuitive. Like we understand it without any words. What Dr. Jessica says is that this idea of the ego, this rupture of the ego that you are having and understanding, like, hey man, this is not right. This world we live in. Pretty soon, this idea of the ego will be moved down to the level of the instincts. And when that lowers to a level like that, all of a sudden this self-awareness bubbles to the top. And you live in the moment. You live in this moment where, I wonder what Jack is thinking. And like, we can have this conversation because we're not trapped in the past, which is depression, or we're not worried about the future, which is anxiety. We're living now. Here's what matters. You and I, this relationship. But it's an interesting concept. I would love to hear what people think about it. Just think about the idea of the ego and the mind that's always racing. Move down to the level of the instincts. Like, I think that's what's happening.
If the mind, okay, I think I'm following, because the end result is what you were saying about the focus of right now. Now is
That's all there is. That's all there
Amen. Is. Okay. This is what I was paying more attention to you, but I was kind of trying to look up a video I watched recently. It was on this topic of the awakening, and the shifting of the consciousness from the egoic monkey mind, right?
Yeah.
Into the awareness of being. And that shift, when I had that shift of consciousness, right, it was an awakening. And you don't know you're dreaming until you awaken.
Yeah.
And what I recognized, I love this, because the monkey mind syndrome, that's kind of something I wanted to discuss along with the topics of stress.
Yeah.
Right? Those patterns of thought generate that anxiety and those energies. And what you were saying, I'm sorry, I'm coming back to what you were saying here about being able to, like, just change the reality. That's kind of what this video was discussing as well, in that the way I was trying to imagine explaining it is, within us we've got our view of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
It's the information field that we direct and we see. Well, you're a character on that for me. I'm invert for you, and we're just the characters, but the power is in the screen, just like the screens that we're looking at. It's not so much the data, it's in the structure of the system that it's being viewed in. I don't know, this stuff can get complicated.
It's perfect, man.
But it's also, it's so simple that it's challenging to accept.
Can I share a story with you about this whole screen?
Please do.
Okay, so for those listening, I was a UPS driver for 26 years. And the one cool thing that I love about being a UPS driver or having a job where you're out in nature, no one breathing down your neck, is that you have a lot of time to think. You know, you're making all these connections with people and it's beautiful, but you're alone by yourself for 10, 12, 14 hours a day. You get a lot of thinking done at that point in time. And I'll tell you something that happened to me. So, but it's important to understand the nature of what I was doing because I was thinking a lot. So I was on road and I was on the freeway getting to my first stop and my phone started blowing up, you know, and I have a code in my family where, you know what, I'm probably not going to answer, but if you call and hang up, and then call and hang up 3 times, I'm going to answer because I know it's important. Maybe that's just everybody's code. I don't know. So my phone rang and I looked at it. I'm like, I don't know the number. And then it rang and then it rang and then it rang and then it rang. The person called me like 6 times and I'm like, out of frustration, I'm like, what is this? And so I pulled off to the side of the road and I pick it up. I'm like, this is George. And he's like, Mr. Monty. It's like a deep voice. I'm like, this is him speaking. He's like, this is Agent, I forgot his name, Agent Wilson with the FBI. And I'm like, whoa, thinking to myself, like, what? And I'm like, yeah, how can I help you? And then right at that moment, like my phone rings again and it's my wife and she calls me. And I'm like, hang on one second. And I click over to my wife. She's like, George, is there something you want to tell me? I'm like, Jesus Christ. Let me think about that for a minute. I love you. I'm racing. I'm like, I got nothing to hide in my mind, right? And I'm like, gorgeous. I don't know, but some guy from the FBI is calling me. And she goes, yeah, they came to the house. I'm like, what are you talking about? They came to the house. She goes, yeah, they came in and my mother-in-law was with me at the time and mom answered the door and they were like, we need to talk to your husband. And, you know, we didn't let him in. And then they gave me this card, but they're really trying to find you. Like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. Like, she's like, what do they want? I'm like, I have no idea. She's like, there's nothing you want to tell me. And I'm like, gorgeous. I'm an open book. I love you. I'm not going to hide anything from you. She's like, okay, well, be careful. I love you. Call me back as you jump that call. So I click back over to that guy and I'm like, yeah, how's it going? How can I help you? And he's like, I need to see you. And I'm like, okay. How does Saturday sound? And he goes, won't do. How about right now? And I'm like, And I'm racking my mind, right? I'm like, right. I bought some weed a while back, man. I wonder if they know about that. You know, and like we're automatically so guilty. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, probably fucking John turned me on that shit. You know, like thinking in my mind, like just silly things. And then I'm like, that's ridiculous. No one cares about that, George. And so as that conversation is going on in my mind, I'm talking to him and I go, all right, yeah, no problem. I'm at UH Manoa over here in Hawaii. I'm like, meet me over by the bookstore. I'll be there in like 30 minutes. He goes, perfect. See you there. Okay. So I'm doing my route and I hop out of my truck and I walk up to where he's supposed to meet me. And I see these guys roll up and they're younger than me. They roll up in like this unmarked car. I wave them down. I'm like, how's it going, man? They jump out of their car and they have like this black notebook and they walk up to me like, Mr. Monty, hey, thanks for taking time to meet me today. I'm like, did you guys go by my house? He goes, yeah, we did. We have some information we want to talk to you about. I'm like, okay, what is it? And they present me with like this black notebook, right? And they hand it over to me and they show me these pictures. Like, please, can you just look through these pictures and see if you know these people? And they present this book to me and I'm flipping through it. It's like a giant binder and I'm flipping through it. I'm looking at these pictures and I have no idea who these people are. And I'm looking at them and I flip to the next one. And as I'm flipping through the book, now I'm starting to think, dude, is this guy just watching me look at these pictures? Is he like looking at something else? And I go through all of them. There's probably 10 pictures in there. And I flip it back and I hand him the book and I go, I have no idea who any of these people are, man. He goes, you're sure about that? I'm like, I'm 100% positive. And he goes, well, how do you think that guy has your license? And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? Like thinking like I have my license with me. And I'm like, and they're looking at me like with this look, at least it appears to me to be a look that I'm guilty of something, right? And I'm like, I know, I got pickpocketed at the mall 6 months ago. And I'm like, ha-ha, ta-da, that's how they got my license. And the guys look at me and they go, all deflated because they thought they had like some criminal or something, right? And I'm like, yeah, not only was I pickpocketed at the mall, but I made a police report. And the guy at Nordstrom's has a picture of this dummy that stole my license because he tried to buy a watch. And I'm like, I would like to get my license back and I'd like to press charges against that guy. ta-da, and and they were like, oh, well, to be honest, this guy's under investigation. We've just picked him up on another island. I might be able to get your license back, but thanks for your time. And I'm sorry for going to your house, and I was kind of obnoxious there. I'm sorry if I scared your mom and your wife. I'm like, all right, well, let me know how it goes, I guess. So that was a major thing that happened, all right? And I'm going to tell you guys why that story is relevant. So I come home, and I think to myself, like, it was one of those things that doesn't happen very often. The FBI calls me. I'm a suspect in a case, right? And like that whole day, it just shifted my paradigm of like, man, that's so crazy that like for a moment, I was wanted by the FBI. For a moment, I was. For a moment, these two young strapping lads thought they had their criminal mastermind. He was a UPS driver, and he was in on the case, and they were going to break it. It was going to be awesome. And I started laughing at how ridiculous it was. And that night, like, it stayed with me. And then, like, on the weekend, I took a giant dose of psychedelics. I'm big into psychedelic mushrooms, and I took this giant dose, and I thought about this thing some more. And it was one of these things that, like, I laughed at it, but then I realized, man, what if you were wanted by the FBI, George? Like, listen to that story you just told yourself, George. These guys had a story about you. You have a story as yourself as a truck driver. They had a story about you as a criminal mastermind. What's the difference in those stories? Just the person that told it. People believed it. Those guys believed it. Those guys believed I was a criminal mastermind of sort. And then I thought to myself, as that was happening, well, if I was a criminal mastermind, you could better believe I wouldn't do what those dummies did. I would have done something brilliant. And this question hit me, like what? Like, become incredibly wealthy and have people respect me. In fact, I wouldn't really be a criminal. I would just be the best version of myself, man. I would do that. And people around the world would love me, man. And I just went with this story. And then, like, after embellishing that story, like, I get goosebumps when I tell this, because I'm like, well, then why don't you just do it? Just be that guy.
There you go.
And it was like, I started telling a different story. It's the lens. That's why I was like this. The lens you see yourself through, the story you tell about yourself is the story you live. That mindset you have where you go and every day you get up, okay, I'm a UPS driver. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to drive this truck. I'm going to get up, go to work. It's a pattern. And when you live this pattern, people see you as that pattern. Your wife sees that pattern. Your kids see that pattern. Your neighbors see that pattern. And you become that pattern. But all you have to do, and I'm going to make it sound simple. It's a little tricky, but all you have to do is become a different pattern. And the way you do that is by stop telling yourself the story. Just change the story. Start with one or two words. Hey, George is the best UPS driver. Hey, George is a UPS driver that's not going to take any crap from these people that call themselves leader. Hey, you know what? George is going to be the guy that's no longer a UPS driver. And then all of a sudden, this story that you tell yourself inside your head begins to show up in your life. This thing that you begin to talk about in here manifests out there. And pretty soon your story becomes part of Jack's story. And Jack's story becomes part of your story. These new characters show up, and you get all the way back to the beginning of what I said about being in this new Grand Theft Auto, where you change everything with the words, the language, the thoughts you think fundamentally change the world you live in. Boom, just like that. The thoughts you think change everything out here. And everybody can do it, man. I'm living proof. Jack's living proof. And if you're listening to this, you're living proof. Just tell a better story, man.
Amen.
Thanks for letting me share that, man. Thank you. I appreciate
it. That is here. I got to address, we got a storm coming in. I'm already hearing lightning. So I don't know what I don't know. So there may be interruptions, but hopefully not. Anyway, that story, brother, holy cows. It takes that belief. It's so simple, yet so challenging. Until you do it. Once you do it, you'll see how simple it is to reframe. And now I get what you were saying with the lens.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. The lens you see yourself, the lens you see the world, it is going to create the experience that you feel. I wrote this down earlier, man, regarding the knowing. Right? To overcome stress, you know. When you know, you don't have that confusion. And so we live in an in a realm of infinite information. It's an information field that generates us. And we have the consciousness, the awareness to capture information, and it becomes what we know, and what we know and think and believe is what we do. So we live in an information field. The information is outside, but all of the answers are within. And so all of the truth that is necessary for you, it's going to be found within, and it's found by asking the questions. Who am I? Am I a UPS driver? Am I a postal worker? Right? Am I a labor guy? Am I just a dad? What am I? If we don't have a clear answer of that question, who am I? What do I love? What is my purpose? If we don't have those answers, someone else will tell you. Someone else will tell you who you are, tell you what to do, tell you what to think, tell you where to go. And then billionaires are made. Wars are started. Friggin' brilliant, man. This human experience, praise God. Praise. There's some Godhead of supreme intelligence that like created and allowed the properties of form, right? Of energy and knowledge. And all we have is today, right now. Right, George?
That's it.
Hey, your inspirations are amazing. And it sounds like, you are much like me. You did the best you could following the rules, right?
I tried, man. I tried.
Me too. And the past brought us to today, but I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, you who are joining, we are part of something special, uniquely special, even amongst the uniqueness of humanity. I mean, because if you step back and you look at people, you look at the human behavior and, what you know of history, people are fucking weird, man. Fascinating creatures. When you get to know them, man, people are so amazing, though, too. They're so lovable, so much fun. I mean, we are part of humanity, and humanity in itself is amazing. And give it up to Mother Earth, right? The diversity, how much creativity is found around us. Man, there's so much to explore here on Earth. Why do we think it's so damn important to sell our time and fit in? Why do we think it's so important to make sure that it's someone else solves the problems? Boy, I'm feeling it, man, George. Sometimes I get on a soapbox. And I truly believe the time for waiting for others has ended.
Do you think everybody has to get to that point, Jack? Where does everybody need to get to where they can't take it anymore? And then that's when each individual begins to change the paradigm. And once there's a tipping point, the whole world changes? Or do you think that each of us are our own little universe? And once we've had once we get to this tipping point, our life changes. And so the universe changes around us. Or is it collective, or is it both?
My apologies. It looks like there's some drama originating or developing in the chat. So
yeah, no, it happens everywhere all around us, man.
Well, it's fascinating, isn't it?
It
This
is.
is what I mean.
It's beautiful in a way.
I used to
Yeah,
get caught up in the drama, right?
of course.
You
How
know
can
any
yeah,
people that you know any people like that? They like get entertained by drama and
addicted to it,
dude.
right?
Yep.
Becomes your
Well,
life. Their drama becomes your life. That's what they want. People want that. Like, and why wouldn't they? It's intoxicating.
that's that egoic need,
Yeah.
desire to feel important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we can be important. We're here to become important parts of each other's lives.
Yeah. Agreed.
And we really are, whether we recognize it or not. Our lives are transformed through the connections, through the relationships we develop. That's Laurie S. I'm sorry, man. I've been ignoring the chat. I really haven't paid you guys much attention. Please forgive me. Yeah, I'm sure you know this is no offense intended. Lori S., I am so not addicted to drama. Please believe me. Drama is addicted to me.
Love
I've
it.
been trying to break that pattern. I think today is a beautiful start.
Think about it like this. When I think of like the things that you're interested in, those things are interested in you. You know, and the things that come up in your life, I see it like this. The people that I meet are a mirror of me. Like if it's someone I don't like, that person is showing me what I don't like about myself. And if something comes in your life all the time that's constantly a nuisance, it's not that person you have to address. It's the attitude of that aspect of life that you have to address. Like that's the world telling you. For me, there was this friend of mine that I liked him, but I was always mean to him because he was weak. But it wasn't that he was weak. The world was showing me that I was weak through him. Like I despised what I thought
Whoa.
about him, right? And then like that's all of a sudden, like when you start seeing people like that, you go, holy cow, the world's telling me I'm weak. I need to fix that. And then all of a sudden you can love those people that were such a nuisance in your life. Then you can love those people because they've done their job. They've shown you what you got to work
Here,
on, man. Yeah, please.
George, we've got a perfect opportunity, I believe. I don't want to make assumptions, but I think what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Snafu, my brother, welcome. How are you today?
Hey, what's going on? I was just listening to you guys. I haven't fully got this George guy yet. He kind of gives me a Mr. Bubbles, big eyes, kind of fucking like the bit Mr. Bubbles theme. But I just want you to know your Nazi Mod K has blocked my other channel like a little Nazi fruitcake, fucktard, cupcake. She will Nazi block anyone that doesn't agree with her. You need to handle your tyrants, Jack Talcott. Handle your tyrant. Talcottia is a good thing, but not with tyrants involved. And K is a fucking from Chicago is a
Hey,
cupcake
brother.
tyrant.
Okay, whoa,
Block
whoa,
in your
whoa, whoa,
chat.
whoa, 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 whoa. Please, I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you because when I paused to address what I thought I was seeing in the chat, I believe I have addressed that and will pursue communicating solutions later. So please, this is an opportunity. It looks like you were tested. What were you saying, George? It's an opportunity for you to be grateful that you found this kind of triggers you a little bit. This gets you upset.
Yeah.
What, Nazi blocking tyrants? Yeah. I mean, are you happy they're blocking your people without you saying it's okay to block, or you saying it's not okay and then they're blocking? Like, are you
I'm
okay with that, Jack
a
Talcott?
Well, here's the reality. I know there was concerns and criticisms made. Not I've
No,
not
it's happening
created the
now.
opportunity to communicate my desires. So I allow people to be themselves, man. And I'm sorry you feel the censor is coming. Now here, the other side of that, and you've got to know this, Snafu. Sometimes you got to have order. Sometimes you got to shut things
Sometimes you
down.
gotta shove people in the ovens and fucking cut their heads off and cut their tongues out. I get it. I get it, Jack.
Well, only if the facts require it, not because someone says. But if there's I saw your look, George. Yeah, I'm pushing the envelope with it.
No, it's a valid question, but maybe there's a better. If you're getting censored, man, there's a better way to get your story out. Like that's the world telling you, hey, that system that doesn't work, man. Try a different method. Like if people
No, we're talking about mod censoring. We're talking about people getting in their fillers when people don't like what others say, and they have YouTube power, so they abuse that power and they press the timeout button and censor people in chat rooms. We're not talking about if I talk about jabs or if I talk about certain things, the trails in the sky, things that will get you censored. Okay, we're talking about fucking Nazi cupcake fucktards who overuse that button because they feel powerful that they could censor speech in chat.
Snafu, that obviously gets you fired up. So that's not healthy for you. Okay, stuff like that happens. I'm not defending it. I am
right. And I'm
it.
just waiting till these power hungry fucktards enter the real world and let's see how they deal when they get fucking button pushed, but in real life.
Well,
you get what I'm saying? These Nazi fucktards who have power. And notice they're Karens. A lot of them are women. Like Special K, woman. Karen, woman.
Do I have to censor you? Don't
Go
make
ahead,
me
Mr.
censor
Talcott,
you.
Mr. George. I just want to let you know the tyrants are rampant in Talcottia Kingdom today.
Snafu, I think it's been addressed, okay, and I'll communicate with Kay. Just so you know, I'd like for us to talk, okay? Not assigning blame, not taking sides, but I'm trying to figure out what the resolve, because I actually enjoy having others paying attention to the chat or being there to say, hey, drop a link. Which reminds me, I was going to drop a link for George, but we'll get to it.
I love it,
Snafu.
Man. It's lively.
This is, I have met and been introduced to some amazing characters, right? Who they're paying attention to all sorts of different things. So the things you can pick up, man, holy cows. Well, you've been down the rabbit holes with a few things, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here who have. And so the things you can pick up through some of these panels and some of the creators around. Yeah. Snafu's had a number of channels deleted. I'm not sure.
I can't imagine why.
No. Like, okay, honestly, I became a fuckhead on the internet, but like I was doing it real. Like my first channel was 10,000 subscribers plus. It was growing, but we were talking about the subjects as I mentioned earlier, like, $20 bills, subliminal messages, Pentagon, fire. We were talking about the real shit. The trails got, and they don't like that. And then now I got on this Pogo thing, privately owned, government operated, infiltrated media relations with YouTube. Mr. George, who has the you give me that Mr. Bubbles per se. You're definitely non-Pogo in my eyes right now. So he's good to go, Mr. George. But no, for real. Like my whole thing about the censorship thing, Jack, is think about it. I've had people say, well, if you comply now, even big channels like the Pogo said, dude, if you comply, you get your message out more, blah, blah. And I get what they're saying. But doesn't that also comply to the programming of no Paul Revere's, of no one standing up to the grit and the grain? We are compliant. You comply, you die, so to speak. So I feel, like think about what if all these bigger channels said, no, we're not going to comply, all came together and what are they going to do? Ban everyone at once? Just like, which they did in a sense. But no, I think that when people go against the grain, the guidelines, like I'm sad that I don't have my 10K channel. I'm sad I used to get 15, 20, 30,000 views on videos. Now I'm lucky to get maybe 60, 50, but the movement, #TruthYo, has stood strong. But the fact is standing up against censorship. And that's why I get so triggered at these little cupcake fuckers in chat with the YouTube button, because they get triggered in just a chat room. Not even the content creators or what's going on the screen. They get in their fillers. And yeah, it is triggering because freedom of press is being attacked every day.
Please pause. Holy cows. Love you, brother. Don't limit yourself, please. Okay? I don't remember your exact words, but you have, I'm witnessing it. You've placed yourself into this narrowed options about A or B. What I have learned and what I do think can be helpful in this, George, your awakening, right? With the FBI, all of this stuff. I'm assuming that the lesson you learned there was the falsity maybe of this authority. Hopefully.
Limiting beliefs, man. It's this
Okay.
idea that these people have. Like, I'm with you, Snafu. Like, I am one of the most anti-authority people you can ever do. I was escorted out of my job for getting in the face of the boss's boss. Not in a mean way, but like pointing out the flaws in people's arguments is the best way to fundamentally destroy authority. When you can paint a picture that nobody around you can deny, and people start laughing with you at them, that's the way to get these guys. And the fact that you got booted out of there. I'm sorry, Tommy. Go ahead.
No, the catch to that is you're talking to the kid that doesn't apply to. This kid has
Dude, Tommy, you're a admitted pedophile.
Here he goes.
Hey,
And a
please,
meth head.
please
Admittedly,
stop. Well,
you are
wait.
nothing but a joke of a clown. You dressed as a
Stop.
demon on Paul's the other.
Hey, we're not going to jump immediately to the ad hominems.
But case in point, Jack.
Immediately
like
to the
that
fact
shows
of the
George
case
what
of
I'm
his
saying.
admitted pedophile on YouTube.
Yes,
Wait a
I've
minute,
walked
wait a
around
Fact
YouTube.
of his admitted fucking tendencies.
Just for a moment, please, both of you. This is quite. We got
I love it,
Snafu
man.
Snaps and Illumitami. There is a brand new energy dynamic coming to this show.
Yeah, dude,
Or to
Snafu,
this
just you got way too many ad hominem attacks, man. You're talented. You can say what you want without coming out and destroying the other person's image right off the bat, man. Come out with some facts and let them dialogue.
Okay,
back and
facts
forth.
is, do you want me to replay where Illumitami admitted he's a pedophile?
Tom,
Should we
or,
replay that?
Snafu, Snap, before you jump into this prosecution and interrogation, there has been no establishment of jurisdiction. Okay.
Right.
This is just really a place for us to have some conversations regarding Thankful Thursday. Thankfully, it's Thursday.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of a cool deal.
Yeah.
We got George and Illumitami and Snafu Snaps all together.
Double trouble, man.
Can we get a second of just the three of us, Jack? Because that's what I came up for.
The three.
Like not
Snafu,
the three of us as in no Snafu.
respectfully.
Yeah,
I
there
think
you
that's
go.
what you meant.
I've commonly said that I should be the Vince McMahon of these streets. And when I watch you and George up here, I'm thinking you guys need to do duo reaction videos. Like I want to see you and George reacting to other videos and talking about them.
I'm open to all of it, man. Why don't you come on here with us, Tommy?
Something.
Yeah.
And maybe like the chat can, well, you'd have to wait to pre-screen it, but maybe like people can suggest things for you to react to.
Dude, that could, you know what? Coming from the mind of Illumitami, this could be very dangerous, okay?
That's why you pre-screen. You have to have a way to pre-screen what's suggested to you, because we all know there's a lot of blue waffles out there. But
you know what?
What's a blue waffle, man?
Don't Google it, George. Do not Google it, George. Don't put that in your search bar. Nobody listening to this, do not search that.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? George seems like the adventurous type, and I think we resonate with the energy. Tommy, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do something, man.
Yeah.
Most
figure
of
it
my
out.
ideas are.
All right. Respectfully, I put Snafu in the back.
Right, and I also was going to comment on some of the things he was saying. If all channels band together, it's not going to change anything because there's too many channels that are already making their money and their claim to fame, and they do that by sticking to the parameters. And those parameters are not as much YouTube as much as the advertisers that pay YouTube. Like YouTube doesn't care. If you remember some of the stuff YouTube used to let fly, it's the advertisers that say, YouTube, if you want this money, we don't want this with our advertisement. And then if they can't put their advertisement on you, they're not going to send the monetization in those directions.
Right. We live in a slave system. And as long as collectively everyone wants to believe money has power, well, everyone's going to bend and comply to various various
To an
rules that
extent,
different
does it
people
not?
imagine.
I mean,
What's
that's
that?
why we say follow the money, because it does have power, and we assume that's a trail we can follow to get to the sources of
Ex-
who's calling the
Tommy,
exactly.
shots.
what you just explained was privately owned, government operated, pogo sellout fucks that I've been screaming about.
No, you
Okay,
don't have to be
hey,
government
stop,
owned.
both of you, please. You're right. The money, we follow the money. It's a trail and it's an indicator for the information. You follow the information to get the truth. Once you get the truth, then you become empowered. Now we can either be empowered with the truth, or we can let the truth scare us, and we can all be all worried about what's being planned and what's coming out with the conflicts, and China, Russia, and the dollar. We can worry about it, we can ignore it, we can make fun of it, we can not
We can
believe
get
it, we can
rich off of
reject
it.
it. We can work together and bring alternatives. We're not limited in our options as far as what we can experience or accomplish here on Earth.
Look, Jack, you've been working with us ever since you opened your fridge for FridgeGate, so I know you're here to work with people. Jack actually does do like FridgeGate. He opened his fridge, ladies and gentlemen. He's here to work with the people. That's real talk.
Hey,
Yeah, so
Snafu,
remember how the land of
Wait.
Unslavia banished you and you ran right to OTW and went crying to him and
hey,
trashing the land of
that's
Unslavia?
Tommy. Let's not do attacks, please.
Tommy, remember how you
I
said
wanted
you
to-
like fucking little minors? on
Snafu,
YouTube?
what did I just say? What did I just say? You guys are like children. Hard hat, welcome, my brother. Good to see you. Were you working today or day off? Hopefully feeling
He has
good.
his shirt on. He's definitely working.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I did work today. It's been fucking blistering hot out, so it drains you and it's tough. But yeah, I did. I saw Tommy come up, so I wanted to come up just to defend myself in case he fucking, I donate to keep Tommy up on Paul's panel, right? So he can have
That's
more
your
talk
mistake.
time.
That's
And then
your
the fucking
mistake.
guy just cuts me down,
I know, huh? It's crazy. And by the
He has
way,
no-
Dee Dee's garlic bread.
Ooh,
Make sure you
hey,
guys you got to do a
Snafu.
show on your garlic bread, Dee Dee.
Snafu, let me jump in here.
Yeah,
Steve H,
going live tomorrow. I'll
welcome,
do that.
brother. I want to jump in on what Hard Hat just pointed out. A lack of loyalty, a lack of connection. People are so quick to dismiss what others do for them. So quick to take everything for granted and then expect so much from others. So I was thinking about that earlier today.
We can take
Regarding,
a
I
lot of
watched the
directions on
news.
that, Jack.
What's that?
We could take a lot of directions on that as far as what we do for
Why
each
are
other.
you interrupting the
what
great
isn't
Talcott?
required
The
for
great
each
Talcott
other.
was speaking. Talcott, please finish.
Hey,
Oh, you're playing
thank
the
you.
moose role.
I actually wanted to bring this to the topic of wars. I watched the news earlier today, see the conflicts are continuing to be funded, right, by
The Federal Reserve. Both
well,
sides, always. Since World
yeah.
War I, both
Well,
sides have always been funded by the Federal Reserve. Granddaddy Bush was
hey,
working on that
stop.
Federal
No,
Reserve.
funded by the labor and loyalty of the American citizens, the Canadian citizens, the citizens of the land have become slaves.
But all that
And
money was printed by the Federal Reserve. It
who
wasn't gold standard.
cares? Who cares?
Well, this is the truth you want to work
Right.
off of.
But you're
Follow
bringing
the
up
money,
stuff and
Jack.
interrupting me, Tommy. That has no relevance. I think
Oh, it's
everyone
very
knows
relevant.
the Federal Reserve prints the money.
Yeah, that's because it's not gold standard, which we're
Tommy,
going
you're
back
not
to.
even talking about what Jack's
Holy
trying to
crap.
say. You're like bringing up a bunch of blah blah bullshit.
Oh,
Jack,
let's
please
go
finish.
back to my pedophilia
thank
then.
Can we hear Jack
Well,
instead of
hey,
Tommy,
Tom.
dumbass?
Golly,
Why do you got
gee.
his picture?
Because he's the
Tommy?
great Talcott. You disrespect, you fuck.
Hey, you guys know I am an anti-war guy. And these are the thoughts I want you to consider. Murder is murder. Period. So we've got good men and women Steve, no offense. I mean, you and I are in this boat together, good men and women who have committed loyalty and they honor their words. They're willing to commit their lives and souls in order to be honorable to what they committed themselves to. And the problem is they're being lied to. Fucking military is being lied to. The American citizens are being lied to. The citizens of the world are being lied to. Knowledge is power, right? History is written by the victors. And so if history is reported every day on the news, and if they're lying to us, that means they, not us, are winning. I don't know how it's going to happen, but
well, Jack, just also remember there's a lot to it with the lies and the manipulation and the programming, propaganda, frequencies, devices, weaponized dumbing down has taken place through our foods, through our medicines, through the, things like that. So when you, like, I know for some of us, that's why they say, oh wait, I see it. I don't, if you're religious, those who will see, those who don't, my whole thing is it's not even the knowledge at this point. It has become such a weaponized dumbing down for the knowledge too, that you're going against that as well. The weaponized of the people being dumbed down.
Snafu, you are correct. However, right? If we can, all that matters for you is what that means to you. Okay. So what? So what? We were born into a world that profits from lies. So what if we were miseducated and told the wrong things about many things? So what? Doesn't mean we can't figure it out. Doesn't mean we can't create a future better than the past has ever seen. I really do think what Snafu brought up, I was watching again. All this information is becoming public, and there's a lot of people who are talented, creating very short, informative documentaries, showing evidence and facts. It's real easy to learn stuff. Anyway, I was watching something today about more evidence of the wonderful nature of the CIA, and how much peace that organization funded by American tax dollars has brought to the world. That's a lie. It's quite corrosive and disgusting when you look at what has been and what is happening today in the world. It can be quite unsettling. It can be quite stressful, make you feel a little angry, make you feel a little hopeless or helpless. But that's the game. Okay? That's the game, and we are the players. We are here to help each other figure it out, help each other become better versions of ourselves, so that the future world will discover what we become, right?
You know what? Can I say this part too, Jack? I would like to get everybody's, like, what do you guys think about this? Okay, I'm going to talk about demographics for a minute. Like, think about, I read a recent article that said there's over 10,000 baby boomers retiring a day in the United States. And if you look at all of us as people, men, women, whatever, if you look at us as one body, a big part of our body is slowly dying. And by dying, I mean the baby boomers. If there's 10,000 retiring a day, and our grandparents, our grandfathers, as they die, so do their ideas. And I'm not saying their ideas are wrong for them, but a lot of their ideas are wrong for us. And as they die, so too do their dreams, their beliefs, their ideas, their egos. And what you're seeing in this world, in my opinion, is like this last stand of boomer ideology. Like, man, we got to take all the resources. You guys got to go to work like we did for 65 hours every week, and you only get this much money. You should be happy for it. I say, fuck all that noise, man. We are going to create a world that's a million times better than that. But we have to let these unrealized dreams play out. Like, we have to let these boomers have their last stand with their Tonka toys, but it's up to us, man. And I think Snafu, you could be like a general, like the things that you're talking about. Those are beautiful ideas. You should be the captain of change on that. I think you're doing it, man. But what do you guys think about as the world we see right now? It's in such chaos because a big part of our body is dying. What do you guys think about that?
I don't see a lot of chaos.
I think it's a transitioning period, like you said, a transitioning of whether it's power, ideals, or ideology, or history, so to speak, like the lost history, what is real, what is not, like I think, and that transition alone is chaotic. I mean, transition as human nature is chaotic anyways, fundamentally it becomes chaotic.
Like a death and a rebirth in a way.
Speaking of chaotic, please don't bring the chaos. I don't mean to assume.
Okay, so here's the thing off of what George is saying. And maybe George does a stream that he'd like to sit and hear an independently wealthy person describe what he wants is on the way, but it's going to be used to tyrannize it. And when you call me chaos, Jack, you let Snafu sit here and do his months and months long loop.
Again, Tommy, he said no fucking chaotic bullshit, you fucking dumbass. Get to the point. Listen to great Talcott. You are denying the greatness. Talcott gave you the opportunity, and you're fucking it up.
Yeah, I gave Talcott the opportunity to not sleep on the street, and he grants me this respect every time I show up to kick me for telling him the truth.
So Talcott is disrespecting you.
Dude,
so I guess Talcott
you need to act like I'm not gonna regard you.
Hold on just a moment here, Tom. You're bringing up something you imagined. So you offered me something in your imagination.
Yeah, it became imagination once you sold your house
for the fact that you imagined giving me something.
So are you memory holding that?
I love you,
gonna memory hold that?
Tommy, I love you, man. I'm gonna
George,
figure out
do you do a stream, George?
Yeah, I got a stream.
Okay, because you brought up the thing I'm saying, and most channels know that I frequent. I don't do this backstaging thing anymore. I've dropped my first video. It's season 3. I'm gonna start ripping throats of these people that I've listened to trash me for so long and backstage me for contradicting what they think is truth. And
I wonder why. The optics are high. Yeah.
Jesus, like you. Catchphrases out the ass. Here's the facts, George, and you can probably accept this better because you have no reason to fucking despise me. I'm just a guy.
George, this is where you're gonna start brown nosing you and sucking up because he's
no, George. I've been trashing you in the chat, George. I've been labeling you a boomer. I've been talking about how I was more interested in watching you react and hear your stories. I am not kissing up to you, George. But I'll come on your channel and have a real, because I look at your background and your surroundings. You look like you're a guy that understands stonks and dividends and finance, and we can talk about this thing that you're talking about. Because Jack, you got screwed out of your house, buddy. Like you got for your house what I got for taking a motorcycle to an SUV wreck. Only I expanded on mine with stonks and winning in tiger's blood. And while I may kind of laugh at George having a talk with you, I think I might go there and have a big boy talk about what's coming and why the utopia is coming in a sense. That's why they're killing off as many of us as they can, because they don't want these plebs enjoying too much abundance in utopia. And the ones that do survive for abundance in utopia, they're going to be tyrannized. They're going to be the actual slaves. Yeah, it's stressful to not have this on your own, Jack, to not have this value. So I'm going to sub to George, and maybe you can watch me and George whenever he streams talk about that.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Boop. God bless. Thank you, Tommy. Did you get all that?
No.
It's okay.
Absolutely nothing.
It's okay if you didn't.
I did get the part where he said you're disrespecting him. I did hear that.
I can see the part about utopia, though. Like, I can see if he's talking about the way in which there's these conspiratorial plans to create, like, the strong cities, the smart cities. Like, that is an idea. It's a utopia, but it's probably going to fail. But in some places, you can already see it. You can see the the Google family or the Google city and coming in San Francisco. Like, you can make the case that what you're seeing there is a form of like real estate acquisition. Let's let all the homeless people run. Let's let the crime run. Let's drive property values down to absolutely nothing. We'll pick up that port for pennies on the dollar. I could see that happening. And in some cases, you can see it in the marketplace. You could see it in the stock market happening. Like, I haven't researched it enough, but it's plausible.
Mr. George, many people are asking about your fridge now. Fridge gate optics are high.
Okay, fantastic. What does that mean? Like, I'll show you my fridge.
To show you're not a pogo shill. Are you in some set?
No,
are you in some set? Or are you in like some made up like studio room? Or do you got an actual fridge? Are you like? Oh, there you go.
Oh, it is.
No.
Oh, hey, see, look. Okay, he's giving us that. So FridgeGate, guys, he's at least working there. So we'll continue FridgeGate down the road. People in chat were asking about you and FridgeGate. So just saying.
Let me address the subs too. Like, I have a ton of subs. I started a channel, and here's something every one of you guys can do. If you want a ton of subs, I started off my channel with all of my content. I do a lot of talk on psychedelics, man. I talk a lot to different authors. I'm a huge reader of both fiction and nonfiction.
Timothy Leary, huh?
Woo! Now you're talking my language, brother. Come on.
What about the goats, the manusteric goats? The CIA? Yeah. I know what you talk about. Okay.
The psychopath test, man. That guy wrote a great book. If you want to talk about stories with people in prison and people being high as fuck, tied together while high on LSD, that guy wrote a great book all about it. Love to tell you about it. Love to share some experiences with you. But here's how my channel got so many subs. So I started off talking about this kind of stuff. And then in my shorts, for anybody paying attention, YouTube is just pushing shorts nonstop. What I did is I went and I took like old clips of dead comedians. I don't know why I thought that was better, but I thought it was more respectful to use the content of people that were dead. At least I was bringing the memory back. And so I got like Carlin, Richard Pryor, all these old school roasts of like the Bob Hope and like all those roasts. I would just clip those. I put them in shorts. And then, bow, man, people started hitting those up, and I became like this sort of comedy short channel, and I loved it, man. I had over 22 million views, and just like the so-called space shuttle went into space and the rocket boosters used it to get into space, when I got to like 30,000 subs, I tried to monetize, and they said, you have too much reused content. And I'm like, all right, well, let me just get rid of this reused content. And I dropped them all. But then all of my views and all that stuff fell off, but I remained the subs, and I still remain able to monetize coming up. So anybody that wants to use that strategy, I recommend it. Like, yeah, you're going to get dinged for your reused content, but you're going to get the 30 or 40,000 subs that come with a little bit of like volume behind it, man. It's a total redoable strategy. I would share that with you guys, man. You should totally do it. It works. So thank you for addressing it, man. Let me open my fridge a little bit, man. Thank you.
No. I like your answer, man. The people of fucking FridgeGate, stand-up gate, these gates are real. And Jack Talcott shows he could work with everyone. And I mean, he showed his fridge. And yeah.
Hey, you look like you wanted to say something, Steve. So I don't mean to keep excluding you out of the conversation.
No, what he was saying about the shorts is right. I posted a short and it had like a couple of views, and then all of a sudden went. It was freaking. It must have caught the rhythm, you know. So I can see
it's the algorithm. People rather spend 2 seconds of their life, you know, watching something versus a full video or podcast. It's the algorithm, and it's definitely like anyone who's done this for years knows that shorts. Once they opened it up, that was a big tool to increase your volume of actually people who haven't seen their stuff.
Like, because it'll share through.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually a pretty cool tool when you think about it. There's many things I want to do to try and build and get the messages out, but along the lines of what we were talking about, the censorship and abiding by the rules, you know, there's a big censorship happens because we have people, organizations, systems, or positions, whatever, that have power, that have authority. And so with authority, they get to determine the rules. And with the determination, with the creation of the rules, well, then it comes down to enforcement. Because there's got to be rules, and you got to have order in order for things to operate. can't have just complete chaos. So there's a lot of rules. There's rules in everything, right? Humans have imagined lots and lots of rules for each other. We've imagined a lot of rules for ourselves, taken on rules of society, said this is right for me. But there's a big difference between obedience and abiding.
Jack, I agree with what you just said to an extent, though. Okay, let's just talk about the censorship with speech. Okay, not like what you said, because you're right. Rules have to be applied, or chaos. But speech, I heard one of the most famous sayings in the world. Who gets to decide who gets to say free speech is? Even hate speech should be accepted as speech, because speech is the only thing that cannot kill or harm or hurt. Yes, the feelings that come with that, the things that come with what you say, absolutely. But that's not the speech itself. The words itself out of your mouth do not cause heart attacks, do not cause harm, do not cause. So like when it comes to free speech,
can I throw something
who gets to decide
Can I throw something in here?
Speech is censored, like that dangerous slope.
I think a lot of times I do think words can hurt, right? But when they use nowadays this hate speech, right? It's not about saying hurtful words. It's actually talking about truth.
But hard hat, do
we can't
words
talk
actually
about,
hurt you
there's shit we
physically?
can't talk about, and they name it hate speech. When it's not hate, it's like, I'm talking about our history. I'm talking about facts, right? But they'll say, oh, that's hate speech because they don't want to hear it. I think there is hate speech that can affect people, but not.
Right. But does the speech itself actually hurt the person, hard hat? Does the actual words physically harm someone? No, they're in their. It doesn't physically. That's why, sure.
Snafu, I want to answer your question because you're wrong. Okay. Now, freedom of speech, absolutely. Even offensive things should be allowed to be said. There should be no prohibition on speaking truth. However, we live in a world where people accept no damn accountability for the words they say. I am living proof of this.
You're thinking
People
about
want
Moose
to
right
accuse
now, huh?
me and Snafu. You have a habit of running around, throwing accusations around without the care.
I got receipts with all the accusations I call out. You want to see them? I'll fucking show them. Everything I say, Tommy has admittedly done what I've said.
Snafu, you better recognize the truth instead of finding disagreements with me. Actually, you better do as you want to do, but I encourage you to find the truth in what I say instead of disagreements, because I am offering you the truth.
So the speech is dictated by you here.
Actually, hey, you know what?
Dictated by Jack Talcott.
Snafu, please. Let me bring it back into a helpful perspective, okay? So it's not so adversarial. Because truth is, whatever, here, I was trying to figure out how to explain this earlier. I mentioned earlier, we live in an information field, okay? The path to the truth is through answers. Our mind guides us to the answers, but it's only through the questions. So if you think if your school taught you, if your parents taught you, and you might want to check yourself, okay? So all of the answers, all of the truth comes from within us. We decide. You get to decide what is true for you. You're the one who stops asking questions. You're the one who decides when you've learned enough to claim that you know. So,
okay, can I ask an honest question to that then? Or I'll let Flo go. Sorry, Flo, get shut up.
If we decide what's true ourselves, then there is no true or false. It's all subjective.
Well, right. Here, this is where I didn't want that to go, because there is an absolute. Okay, there is the truth of reality. Whatever is real becomes information. Okay, there's the physical reality, and then there's the information reality. So people search for answers without knowing who they are. So we go through life, through time, discovering information, and everything becomes symbolic. A flag means this, a black person means this, a man means this, a woman means that. Those become our definitions, and whatever you think is true for that which you
but
are.
Jack, the question is who gets to choose is true. Like, look at it nowadays. People are getting zeros and F's in college if they say the word biological. Okay, because misgender, people are getting arrested in Canada for gender mispronouncing. So is the truth of the fact that there is no more male and female? The truth is they're just whatever people say. Like, who gets to pick these truths?
Snafu, hey, I get what you're saying, and this is exactly the problem I'm trying to address. We should allow facts and evidence to determine the truth, not authority, not
Facts are
paid experts. Right?
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
But facts and evidence are very different things, and a fact is independent. It's external and independent of the observer of it.
But also the facts and evidence have been they are changing what is factual now. Like according, like look at your Wikipedia.
No,
shit. Like,
they're not changing. They're not changing what's
the regular people
factual.
know, but they could say, oh well, look at this. Pull out a fucking book in their fucking college.
But that's a bullshit claim.
What I'm trying to point out is these are becoming the facts are like the faults are becoming facts. The lies are becoming facts. By these entities.
Hold on, stop believing that, because I don't believe that. That's not true for me, Snafu.
You don't think they're pushing the narratives to these people to believe these?
The narrative isn't a fact.
In fact,
correct. The narrative, you know what? Just like Wikipedia, each of you is a source of information. Okay, I can choose to accept or reject what you guys offer me and what I find online from anywhere. It's up to each of us to determine what is the truth. And here, if we to simplify and uncomplicate our lives, this is where George and I actually started, was the focus of now, right? Settling into the stillness, the peace of the eternal moment that is now.
You've been reading Eckhart Tolle.
That's one of the great teachers, man. We're blessed to have people like that teaching us.
I like him.
He's unique. I honestly, because of he's so soft in his soft nature, I haven't learned much from him.
Hey guys, you guys are smarter than I am. I'm wondering how many of these people we look up to. How many people that we look up to, these writers, these influencers from way back in the ages, that now what we know now, and the agenda that's getting pushed, and we look at what they pushed. I think Noam Chomsky guy was one when I kind of looked into his shit. It's like, how many of these guys are the ticket takers? They're the fucking programmer guys that push really fucking nice, great shit, but it's actually pushing us to this, male and female combined fucking bullshit. So I don't know how many of these guys, like off the top of my head, Jordan Peterson, right? He's a fucking Israeli shill now, and he's he pushed. I know he pushed the thing we can't talk about, right? And he said, if you don't do it, you're harming society. And then he came back like they all do and say, I'm sorry. But here's the thing. I ain't that fucking bright, yet I figured it out right from the fucking get-go. Hey, they're lying to me every 2 weeks. What they say is a lie and it's another lie. So I started to educate myself. So how come these smart people that we look up to with all these fancy big fucking syllable words that they tell us, how much are they just getting paid to pull the shit?
Well, what you're saying, Hard Hat, there's a lot of knowledge out there, right? I mean, we're accumulating a shit ton of knowledge, but there's not a lot of wisdom. That knowledge isn't be using what it should be used for. You know what I mean? I heard a saying the other day. It said, knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad, right? So,
hey, that's actually really good, DD. And to
That
be
hit,
honest, though, a
that
lot
hit,
of this knowledge, you guys got to realize, in America especially, we are the #1 propaganda country. They use, like, I mean, certain countries have like 3 propaganda, 2 channel, but in America they use propaganda like fucking flies on shit. So
Well,
what, like, the knowledge that we perceive knowledge, I mean, really, like, that's a really good question, Hard Hat. Like, the old scholars, the old writers, the old, knowing what we know now, like, it does kind of mind fuck you, like, wow, like, really take a step back and think about it, and reevaluate their writings or reevaluate what they're trying to push or say.
Well, I've
hey,
even come across that there's some people that we talk about that, they're in the 1700s or 1500s and they did this and that. They weren't even real fucking people, right? They were invented, in the late 1800s and written into the storybook to kind of fulfill. It's a big plan. And these motherfuckers are brilliant. And it's been going along. So there's people I think are made up that we don't even know. It's
But what if that's
propaganda.
propaganda too? They might not even be that brilliant. It could just be revelation of the method. It's all a show.
tell you what, let me run with this a little bit, if I may, because the idea of wisdom comes through knowledge, through the truth, right? Through the application of experience. That's what I consider wisdom. Wisdom comes through knowledge learned from experience, or knowledge applied to experience. Brothers and sisters, I don't want to brag or oversell, but I feel I have been blessed with an opportunity to gain wisdom in the areas of inner peace, in faith, spiritual faith, because what we're talking about here, yes, this is a pinnacle time of humanity. There is a divide, but we are in a spiritual battle because we are spiritual beings. And if you can understand the spirit of you, the essence of you is just simply your awareness. That's who you are. You're not the body, you're not the memories, you're the awareness of the memories, you're the awareness of the body, you're the awareness of the moment. Until you allow yourself to travel back in time or future trip, and then you're just spending time spinning your wheels today. I spent a lifetime doing that, and it's not fun. So, George, you and I are on similar paths, man. The UPS man walked out. I'm the postal dude who gets dude, they swarm the police and shit on me when I show
We
up.
got a lot of shooters up in here.
Well,
Our aim is true.
here's where the faith comes in, okay? If you can surrender yourself, okay? Surrender you to becoming one with. Become less important than those around you, less important than whatever the truth is, less important than what you used to think. Become more important by becoming intentional, right? Using your awareness not to get caught up and confused in the monkey mind. I heard this described, I'm kind of changing the topic here, but regarding the mind, I heard that's what is happening because of our ability to think back, to remember, and imagine. Because of those abilities and the practice conditioning of obedience, children are always trying to remember and adults, right? Everyone's trying to remember the rules and avoid problems in the future, but we get hypnotized and then we're just going through the motions of living, right? 15 hours a day at work and trying to survive. But you know what? Surviving is not living. It is not. We're here to live, and life brings growth. Growth, man. That's new. That's greater. It's exciting. I truly believe, brothers and sisters, we are the generation that will end the wars, create the new way for humanity. And you know, I've been saying I've been blessed with opportunities to practice and experience my faith. I do feel that I have some wisdom to share. So if you can trust me, trust that I am sharing truthful words, trust that maybe the perspective might be helpful for you. Well, if you try it out, your logic and your experience will show you if I'm right or wrong. But I think if I'm right, this is the path to the eternal life. I feel like every day I'm lost in eternity. Each day, it used to feel longer and longer, but each day it's like a lifetime. Every day I'm growing, changing. It feels like an adventure. And so each day is a lifetime. And yet, dude, it's already June. It's already friggin' June. I mean, my home was scheduled for auction over 2 months ago. So this shit is, time doesn't stop. It's crazy, man. Guys.
What do you think about experience, Jack? Is you value experience over everything else?
Yes. And you know what? Thank you. That's something I hadn't considered before, but I do. When I started learning to listen to others, to trust they knew what they were talking about, holy shit, man, I started learning all sorts of things. And what I started doing is simply allowing the truth to be true, right? Obviously, use your discernment. You can brush off the obvious stuff. But if someone tells me they've had experiences with angels, with demons, with God, you know, I don't know. They swear on it. They seem pretty authentic, pretty realistic. But, dude, there's demons and angels if those people are real. And I know who I want to serve. I want to serve the God of love, right? Love is that which reveals the truth. If you don't reveal the truth, there's no love. So we must live in a realm of love because only the truth is revealed, right? Through the light. It's like a cosmic light show that we take so damn seriously. And so we spend all this time worrying and planning and fighting and fucking punishing. We're children of God. We are loved. We are divinely created. These bodies, I've been on my own and I've learned what a lot of others have achieved. Dude, guys, start taking care of your body. Like, start loving yourself a little more. You'll feel better. And, you know, what's the worst thing? This is where I've been at. I didn't really have a choice, but I stood on what was true. And as a result, my family, my employer, everyone gambled on our reputations. Who's right? Who's wrong? Well, I don't know. I can't wait to find out. But if I'm right, divine faith is ours to receive. Like the fucking faith of a God. It's available for you. You can have so much faith, it makes no sense whatsoever. The faith in yourself, the faith that, well, the faith that whatever you want, you get to dream your future. This is what I finally realized. I finally realized this. We make plans and the gods laugh, right? We think we've got it figured out. Our spirit, I swear, we've got these spirits divinely beyond us. And they like use us for practical jokes. They're playing around with each other, making us look stupid.
It's sadistic.
It could be, right? I was thinking about that too. We've got I truly believe the God of creation is the God of love, right? We don't have the right words, so love. But the God of love created this divine planet, right? Magical Earth, just amazing. And it sustains everything we need. And we are magical beings, right? So God, in its spectacular glory, creates this divine creation for us to experience. And what do? we want to live in fear. The God of love creates life for us, and we have been conditioned to fear.
Well, he also created death.
Well, did it?
Yes.
Are
I mean,
you
if it's the God of creation and it created everything, then absolutely
Yes,
it created.
correct. Death and decay, obviously.
Right. It's part of the cycle. So everything that, I mean, I don't know. It feels like you're looking at half of the picture.
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, I try to consider when I started realizing how wrong I was about everything, I started looking into the fantastical, into the philosophical, some of the things that maybe couldn't have just be hard evidence and proven. But you know what? That's where I realized life is lived. Our life, our entire life, it consists of our feelings, our senses. What George, what you were talking about earlier, that sense we have of picking up the energy. It's like you can't see it necessarily, but there's a knowing, there's a sense.
You know what I think about, right? When you talk about that point, I think about symbology. Like symbols are a great way to get across an idea without using words. And I think of that Japanese symbol, like the town and country, like two paisleys that are going around each other. The black paisley has a white dot in the middle, and the white paisley has a black dot in the middle. And it's moving in a circle like this. In order, there's chaos. In chaos, there's order. The God of love is also the God of hate and destruction. It's one and the same. When you start a relationship, you're like, this is amazing. When you end a relationship, you feel that pain. But isn't the end of that relationship also the beginning of a new relationship? That with yourself, that with new people. Everything that dies is so something else can be born. And if you can see it, it's really fucking hard when you're hit by emotion. When you lose somebody you love, whether it's a parent, a child, a relationship, a job, loss is very difficult for us in this form, in this state, in this way we look, in this way we live. Loss is painful and it's hard and it clouds our judgment. But if you can step back for a moment, just for a moment is all you need, and understand that this loss is also a new beginning. This loss is that opportunity that you've been looking for to start anew. Just look at the cycles of life, whether it's summer, spring, winter, and fall. You guys all know the song. Like that's the way we move around. Those same paisleys, right? That's our lives. That's our day. Every night you get a chance to die. Every morning you get a chance to be reborn. The same way you watch your kid be born. The same way you watched your mom die. Boom, there you are right in the middle. What are you going to do with it? Today is a brand new fucking day, man. Tomorrow you're going to wake up better, bigger, stronger than you've ever been before. You can create a brand new relationship tomorrow with the person you've known your whole life. It can be better, but you have to choose it. And you have to begin to live that pattern inside your mind. And then people will start seeing that pattern in you. And pretty soon people start following that pattern. And everybody in this room, whether it's me or Hard Hat or Flow State or Jack or Lube, 679 Smith, everybody in this chat, we're all on the same level, man. Every one of us in here is trying to make a conscious decision to become the best version of ourselves. And when we do that, we don't need war. When we become the best version of ourselves, we don't need authority. We're the authority. No one can hold us down. No one can get in our way. We are the best version of ourselves every single day. No one can stop that. And that's what's happening all around us right now. The fact that we're sitting in this room from different people across the world, man, like we are changing the world. And it's not just us, it's everybody else out there. This is happening to them. We just happen to be sharing this conscious moment together. But because we can be contagious. We can be infectious. We can go out there and inspire everybody, man. Thanks for letting me share.
How did you guys find each other?
Collaboration option through StreamYard.
Jesus Christ, the algorithm got good at putting you together or something.
I tell you what, yes, I was just
Whatever they're putting on those stamps, they put an acid in the glue or something. You guys have been licking the same stamps, I swear to God.
I love it, man.
See, I'm not as weird as you guys thought.
Yes, you are. It just means that lots of people are weird.
No, George, you bring such an enthusiasm and inspiration. I do hope that energy is contagious because that's what our world needs, man. It needs more people being a little crazy about hope and excitement, you know? And what you said, George, too, a lesson I learned for myself. When everyone started doubting me and throwing their shit at me, that really, well, it started to break me. And then I said, no, I'm sick of being broken. I'm going to I dedicated myself. I got real disciplined. I was, 12, 15 hours a day. I was dedicated to learning, creating, trying to figure out what I was doing. So
you can't learn that long at a time. What is it? I mean, not you specifically, but humans in general can't focus on things and learn that long.
No. Well, when it's something we love, when it's something our heart truly wants, man, you can get lost in it. Honestly, when I was really at that point of my spiritual dedication, I didn't do like a lot of people have. But I did. I was like forgetting to eat. I was forgetting the basics of living because I was so caught up in just
Adderall.
being. No. I was caught up in God.
You left that gap there. I had to take it.
Amen.
What do you think about learning and having something develop inside you? I think there's a difference. Like what you can learn, you can read, you can listen to people, but something develops inside you when that happens. And I think that is that breaking point that people find where they're like, okay, not now, not another day. I'm done with this, whether it's a relationship or a job, or it's an insight that you have about an idea that explodes. Like you're feeding something and it develops inside of you. And I think that's more than learning. I think learning is a part of this thing. And there's certain things that can only develop inside you. And I mean, in each one of you specifically, there's a gift. There's something that develops only inside the flow state container, only inside the HMFIC mic container, man. There's something that can only develop in you, man. There's something that can only develop in the Lubos container. There's something that is specific for you. And that's the gift that you're put here to plant on this earth, man. Like I believe that. So when we talk about learning, I would like people to understand that there's more than learning. There's developing, and there's something developing inside of you right now.
I'm amazed at you guys together. Like this, that's what's developing inside me. This is a paradigm shifting duo.
Hey, I'm going to receive that as good confusion.
It's amazing.
Hey, thanks.
I love you guys. My family's coming home, man. I got to jam out of here. I'm so thankful to every one of you. I'll be back. Please reach out to me. There's some free audio books in there. Check them out. Listen to them. You'll love them. I'll see you guys soon. Aloha.
Later.
God bless, George. Thank you. Have a great evening, man.
I actually came in here to clap you up, Jack, on your anti-freedom of speech position, and now I'm just like kind of dumbfounded it.
Hey, what he was saying, that actually just inspired me about there's a difference between learning and developing. And man, that bringing that awareness to that idea, that concept, because there's a difference between listening and hearing, right? Being present for the activity of information versus really receiving the information. And then I think there is a difference between like learning what you have to, learning because you're telling yourself you've got to, and then that learning becomes a chore. But if you look at it as though you're, what did he say? Developing something within yourself?
I think he was speaking about when you learn something that shifts your paradigm.
Everything can, though. It's up to us.
I mean, if you learn a new math equation, it's not going to shift your paradigm. But when you learn that there's two Jacks, and they both have work histories in the same career, and you see them side by side on the panel together, that's a paradigm shift.
Well, meeting everybody on here, meeting new people, learning their thoughts, their ideas, seeing how well they parallel yours, like you said, and having a dichotomy of, this thought on this and this thought on that. It's really amazing to what he was saying. I related to it, like deep down inside you feel something different now, and that's kind of something I didn't find until I came on here. Cause I don't like people really. I don't see a lot of people in my day other than customers, and you treat customers differently than, friends. And I consider everyone on these panels friends, no matter, what they say or think of me, whatever. But just listening to everyone's story, everyone's, history, their thoughts on this, their thoughts on that, it changed my views on a lot of things, like the light bulb, bam. Like, holy shit, I never thought of that, because I don't get to hang out with a lot of intellectual people throughout my day. Not that the people that I hang out with aren't, but it's normally the same conversation. It's like the same thing. There's so many different conversations now. This is it's really, we're fortunate, like you were saying, this time comparing to the boomers, what they went through. But yeah, man, this is
you need better friends, man. We're nuts.
I was thinking about that earlier. I'm not nuts. What I do, I realize this, and maybe others relate to me in some way. I never really fit in with like any group, any clique, but I got along with everyone. And so I would like bring attributes of the jocks to the stoners, or, bring some of the flow of the stoners to the nerds, whatever. That's what's happening. I'm just bringing different communities, different ideas together, because something Steve said is true too. When we humble ourselves to the truth, not everyone gets to learn what we're talking about. Not everyone gets to have the deep conversations about things other than, what's in the news or media or stuff like that, or the day-to-day grind. So, brothers and sisters, you guys, this has been an honor and a pleasure for me. I think we should wrap it up, though, unless you guys want to hang out.
No. I just am wondering, if there are two of you, what if there's like a shit ton of you?
I think there is.
What if we found a whole bunch of Jacks? Fuck a deer.
I think there's a bunch emerging. Crazy spiritual people.
You're on the right path, Jack. There's a lot of trash out here, a lot of stuff you got to dig through, and I'll keep saying it. You were shit on, I was shit on, Taylor's shit on, everybody gets shit on, but we're still here, we still come back, fighting through it, and that just shows your resolve. You know what I mean? To just keep going at it. That really is it's important to have a trait, in your personality and apply that in your life.
He does have a lot of resilience or tenacity or something. I'm not sure what the word is. Tenacity might be the best one.
Well, I appreciate that. When you said buried in crap, I thought that was pretty funny, pretty ingenious. Constitutional Republic, also known as America, propaganda. Crap. We've been buried in propaganda. I don't know. Brothers and sisters, thank you. I'm gonna kick you guys out.
No.
Do a last minute final. Hey, thank you again. Thank you again, guys. God bless. Hey, brothers and sisters, thank you again, all of you who did join, who might join at a future time. I hope the discussions, the conversations, I hope you receive some of the inspirations, man. That George True Life podcast, he dropped a link, and I'll try and connect that with the description as well. He was sharing some resources for those of you who joined. Brothers and sisters, thank you again. A thankful Thursday. I started out grateful, and it's ending up even more. Holy cows, I just realized. I got the men's group tonight. It's time for me to leave. Brothers and sisters, boy, I say that a lot, don't I? Have a beautiful evening. Peace for everyone. God bless. Live without fear.